Hey there, Bobcat Band members. Mr. Rogers here once again. Welcome back to part 2. If you have not watched and played with me on part 1 of today's lessons, make sure to go back there first. It's very important. Got to get those muscles relaxed, all warmed up, ready to go. And also I talk a little bit about what's going on with band. Just a little bit what's going on. So go back to the video if you haven't seen it already. Today we are going to look at the Pink Panther theme. I want us to play through it. I want us to figure out some difficulties with the tune because there are unique difficulties with the Pink Panther theme. So have that sheet music out. And again, if you haven't sight read this song with me, make sure to go back to the Google Classroom page, scroll down, and find where that lesson is, and that's where the sheet music is. Be sure you are reading it through with me for the first time before this lesson. Okay, so this is a medium swing once again with the eighth notes. We don't play them and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and, right? We call that vanilla, that's straight, right? So we want to play swung. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. 3, 4, 1. Yeah, so in this case we have just a 4, 1. This is right at the beginning. A 4, 1. A 4, 1. Right on that eighth rest, make sure to take a clean breath. So, for example, using that swing to your advantage and really, really lay back. Also dynamics, mezzo piano at the beginning, just pretty mellow. And then you get to kind of a mezzo forte because that's where that main theme comes in. Ba-dum, ba-dum, za-doo, ba-doo, wee-ah-doo, ah-ee-ah, ba-da-dum-da. On the first triplet eighth note, you should take a breath there. Ba, ba-da-dum-da. Right? That's a stylistic thing. You can take a breath there. Doesn't necessarily have to be written as a rest. So if you're tied over there, ba, ba-da-dum-da. Take advantage of that breath and playing through those notes quickly. Okay, now at this time I want you all to look at the measure before the first ending. That is a new note for a lot of us. This is a concert B natural. So for trombones, that would be 7th position. Well, I'm sorry, you're actually playing the higher version of it, so you'll actually play it in 4th position. So this is what that note sounds like, everybody. So go ahead and have the fingering down and play that note with me. Now I want you to echo with me on that note. So echo me. All right, sounded good, sounded good. All right, so that is an awkward note to have to hit. You even heard for myself that I cracked one of those notes. Yeah, da, 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 da. Don't worry about it. If that happens to you, know that it is an awkward interval to hit. Okay, so this is going to be starting from the top. Then we go all the way to the first ending. We're going to play through. And sorry if I'm not looking directly at you in the camera. My sheet music actually is on my computer screen. So I might be looking a little bit lower. Looks kind of strange, but no big deal. In the first ending, you're going to play through it. Then you repeat back to measure 6. Then remember that second time through, when you arrive on the first ending, you don't play the first ending. You move on to the second ending and play the song normal from then on out. So watch your dynamics. Let's go and play it again. This is going to be me moving my microphone. Because again, having it right there, all up in my grill, that's just not ideal for a trombone player. Okay, here we go. So when we start at the top, make sure to make all those notes swung, but they're still long. Dee-da-da-dee. We're going to play it through one time, and then we're going to move on to Bad Guy, everybody. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2. falls, really, I don't know why I'm looking at the microphone. That's silly. Whenever you do those falls, wow, try to make them long and expressive, right? Really schmaltzy is what we do. Now, trombone players, you'll notice that every now and then, I did sort of a small glissando. So if I move the mic over here, right? Right, we can add those improvised sort of smears, or glissandos is the proper way for it. If you want to add, again, that word schmaltz is when we, as trombone players, just exaggerate that vibrato using the slide only. So, go ahead and experiment with that, everybody. We are moving on. Moving on. We're going to play that again next time. We're going to move on to some sight reading of Bad Guy. If I can pull that up. Let me check my monitor here. Okay. So, very nice, very nice. You should have Bad Guy up, and it should be for your instrument. Now, this is going to be the bass line from it, all right? This is how the song starts. And a lot of you know the song, so I'm not going to sing it right now. The most important thing for you is when you're sight reading something on sheet music, that you're able to just play it through without having to worry too much about hearing it ahead. So keep that in mind. It's important to look at first your key signature. Okay, now the key signature, again, for some of us, it's going to be either nothing, or it's going to be 2 flats, or it's going to be 1 flat, or it's going to be a sharp. So look at that very, very beginning. For low brass, flutes, and bells, you have 2 flats. Okay, now everybody, we know our concert B flat major scale. So that's what this key signature represents. However, you'll notice that your first note is not a concert B flat, right? It's a little different. It's going to be in a minor key. Minor keys use key signatures that we're familiar with in major keys. So this is actually going to be in G minor. The first note for everybody is a concert G minor. So for like bells and tuba, and bells, low brass, and flutes, you don't have to worry too much about it. Your first note is the G, okay? So it's going to be in G minor. For everybody else, it's going to look a little bit different, but that is your concert G. 3 lines total throughout. Look at each of the eighth notes. Notice how some of them don't start on the beat. So for measure 1, 1, 2, and 3, and. Okay, so for our clapping, we would go oops, I sang it a little bit. You guys recognize it though. So we got 1, 2, and 3, and. Okay, so let's do that together. 1, 2, and 3, and. Right? A lot of them are going to land on the ands. So you're going to take breaths on each of those eighth notes. You got to make sure that they're deliberate and sort of rhythmic. And each of those quarter notes need to be long as well. So every eighth rest, make sure to take a short little breath. They don't have to be huge because you're taking so many of them in a row, right? You don't have to worry too much about taking a ginormous breath. Da, 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 da. Maybe that first eighth rest, bigger breath there, all right? Now you see the pitch changes. It moves in a what's called an ascending motion. Okay, so like measure 5, it's going to work its way up, but it's the same rhythm. Bum, ba, ba, bum, 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 ba, 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 ba. New pitch right there. Ba, ba, da, ba, bum, bum. The last 2 sets of the last 2 eighth notes are going to be on the and. So 1 and. Okay? So if you need to look up any notes, notice this, there's no accidentals. So that's in our favor. We're going to sight read this pretty dang well, I think. Just make sure to look at your key signature, review any of those notes. If you need to pause the video real quick and review any notes that are in your key signature, trumpets and clarinets and bass clarinet, tenor sax, you don't need to worry about anything because everything is natural. You don't need to worry about a key signature. So pause the video now if you need to look up any notes, and we're going to sight read it. Okay, hopefully you paused the video, checked out some stuff. I'm just going to adjust my microphone real quick. Let's see. Got to make sure to have a good sound. The microphones on these computers don't always sound, or rather they don't capture sound in the best way. So here we go. This is Bad Guy. We're going to go about this tempo. Bum, 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 going to be a lot of low stuff. Ooh, my mistake. One more thing is for the flutes, you have what's called a divisi. You have two notes at the same time. Now you're gonna pick which one you want to play. So if you're a very advanced flute player, I want you to use the upper notes on there. If you want to play the lower register, go ahead and do that. If there are more unfamiliar notes in that upper register, don't worry about it. Just play the lower divisi. Now divisi means to divide. So we're dividing two parts onto one page. That way you don't have to have several parts written out, just all on one page. Okay? So pick which one you want to play. Here we go. We're going to play it through. This is going to be low for a lot of us, okay? There's your first note. 1, 2, and 1, 2, ready. So remember, when we're sight reading, you got to be sure that you just keep going. Even if you make some mistakes, you don't worry about it. You just try to get back on that train as quick as you can, but don't panic, okay? Because what happens when we make a mistake as musicians? Absolutely nothing. Nothing happens, right? So that means you don't really need to worry about it. If you make a mistake, that's what sight reading is. It's supposed to get us a little more comfortable with it for the first time. Let's play it again. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2, ready. Yeah, all right, that's groovy. Now what you'll hear is I'm doing sort of a stylistic way of playing. I'm not writing, right? None of the what's written on the page is none of the notes are accented, right? You're not going to use ta 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 ta. A little too aggressive for the nature of this song. It's supposed to be laid back, just like. All right, just chill. Now you'll hear that sometimes I am putting a little bit of an emphasis on certain notes. That's sort of something that's implied in music. It gives it a little bit of direction. Okay, so. It's leading into the end of the phrase. So we're going to do that again. Now that you know the tune, if you want to practice a little bit with a slower tempo with me, go ahead and rewind the video. That's the luxury of this. You can go back and play with me and get a little bit better and getting things under your fingers a bit more. Because right now we're going to pick up the tempo. And we're going to do some of those accents. Bum, ba, ba, dum, bum, bum, ba, be, da, ba, bum, ba, ba, dum, bum, bum, ba, ba, da, bo, da, ba, ba, dum. So make sure to lean in heavy on those quarter notes. Here we go. Let's play it one more time. 1, 2. 1, 2. Ready. Repeat that bass line over and over and over, and that's what the song is for that bass line. So if you want to listen to the recording of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy and play along with it, this is actually written in the same key, so your notes are going to line up. Bum, ba, ba, dum, bum, bum, ba, ba, do. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2. 1, 2. Ready. And just over and over and over and over and over again. You can do that with the recording. So be sure to do that. And trombones, keep in mind, you should be starting on 4th position. And when you work your way down to the low F, it's going to be in 6th position. So I don't know why I'm looking at the microphone. I keep thinking the camera's here. That's silly. You're right there. You're not a microphone. You're a person. So keep in mind that when you're working your way down to 6th position, it's going to feel like you're going to C, but you're actually the partial below that trombones. All right? Okay. So send me any questions on the Google Classroom chat just right beneath, or email me if you want to send me a private message. Whatever is fine by me. All right? So keep playing, keep practicing, and I'll see you on Wednesday or Thursday for our composition Zoom lesson. If you missed last time, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to catch you up just fine. So, all right, Mr. Rogers here signing out. See you next time.